I had no money. And I mean, I can't afford to put fuel in my car, and I've got 3 kids upstairs crying. I've quit quite a lot of times, mate, to be honest.
Why?
A lot of different reasons.
Give me some of the reasons.
At one point, nobody cared if I fought or not, and I had no money. My wife was pregnant when we were 22. I had my first kid at 23. And then when I was 24, we found out that she was pregnant again, and which I'm very happy about, of course, and that we were having twins. I had no money, and I mean, I didn't have any money at all. And I'm like living on this dream of me becoming this global superstar with these millions of pounds in the bank and with these titles and travel. I'm living on that dream. But I'm in Atherton in Greater Manchester. It's raining outside. I can't afford to put fuel in my car, and I've got 3 kids upstairs crying. I felt like I'm here with this wife and kids and I ain't providing nothing. And that was really tough for me mentally at that time, where I'm like, how am I gonna provide for all these people? When I am spending time at home, I'm completely exhausted from training. The kids have me up all the time. They're crying. My wife's not happy. I've got no money. I train all this time, go to fight, then it gets cancelled a week before. Do you know what I mean? That was really, really tough to deal with at the time.
I was a Leeds United fan. Always used to watching Leeds United. They were the champions back then. And they came to Birmingham to play Birmingham City. And like a jackass, I thought, oh, I'm going to go and sit in the Leeds end. Back in the day, at half-time, you could literally walk into the ground. So I thought, I think I was about 12, maybe about 9, 10 or something like that. And at half-time, I thought, I'm going to go sit with the Leeds fans. I mean, that's the idea of it now. But I walked into the Leeds, and at first it was just a couple of monkey noises, and then it became like a chorus of monkey noises. And then it became a chorus of, goon, nigger! And then it seemed like thousands of people were screaming abuse at me. And I heard these words in my mother's words, hold your head up, don't be scared. So I thought, I'm going to go and take my seat. And I kept walking down the touchline, but it got so loud that in the end I thought, I don't want to sit with these people. So I turned around and walked away. I remember them cheering, but I remember I was really shaken. I remember to this day, this groundsman, Ward, the member of staff, as I walked out on the ground, he shouted, you all right, kid? And I just went, I just nodded and just walked home. But I was really shaken by it because I'd done exactly what my mother told me to, but it didn't work.
Could I not smoke weed? Probably. Would I just much rather smoke weed all day? Yes. That is how I view it. It only makes my journey through this life more comfortable, more palatable, easier to process, easier to manifest the things that I want to do. I could probably do it. It would just be a bit more of a fucking pain in the ass.
After I've won the world title, before I fight David Hay, I don't own my house outright yet. At this stage, no, I don't even own the first house I had. At this stage, I've got one property that I rent out my first house. After that, I've got the second property that I've got a mortgage on. That's all I have to my name at that stage in life.
Why? How does that happen?
Because that's boxing for you.
Is it boxing?
Yeah, really, that's boxing for you. That's professional fighting. Unless you turn professional with a gold medal, there ain't no money at the start. And you've got to bank. How good do you really believe you are? How much do you really believe in yourself? Because you've got to back yourself all the way. So, after 5 professional fights in me left hand knuckle here snaps in half in the 5th fight in my career. So I get an operation on and off the best surgeon in the world. His name's Mike Hayton. And I didn't even have enough money to pay for the operation because I fought in the December. I snapped me hand in half, me middle knuckle here, this snaps in half. And then I spend all of the £6,000 that I've just earned to give the kids the best Christmas they can possibly have. On January the 11th, I'm skint. I haven't got a single penny in the bank. I've got a mortgage to pay. I've got kids to provide for. But everyone thinks from the outside I'm this budding professional and I've got loads of money because I've got a new car and whatever have you. And at this stage, I'm still living in my terraced house in Old Swan in Liverpool. But from the outside looking in, it's like he's on TV, he's fighting. If I'd said to people, I earn £6,000 a fight, of X amount I lose to the promoter, X amount I lose to the manager, X amount I lose to the trainer, I'm breaking even. I'm lucky if I'm getting out with £4,000, 3.5. I'm lucky.
This is the most effective treatment that's ever been shown in treating the leading cause of death and disability, which is high blood pressure. It also reduces insulin resistance. It can enhance cognitive capacities, and you also see it affecting things like depression and anxiety. It's called fasting. And there's more. Fasting introduces not just a chance to lose weight, it also mobilizes visceral fat, which is the fat around the belly and the organs, which is giving off inflammatory products that's causing heart disease, cancer, diabetes, and many people are maintaining higher visceral fat than what they should be. So I've spent 40 years helping people get healthy, and I can tell you that I think you should be fasting every day.
So tell me about that then. But also, isn't the game here just to not eat as much?
Well, here's the problem. We live in a world designed to make you fat, sick, and miserable, where 76% of people are overweight or obese, and where people think that health comes from pills, potions, and powders. And yet most of us are ignorant of the proven health benefits of fasting. In fact, if you look at all the chemical changes that happen with exercise, they also happen with fasting. Things like increase in BDNF, a neurochemical protecting the brain from Alzheimer's disease.
And what about water fasting?
So people that have not been successful at resolving their conditions with medications, including patients with polycystic ovarian syndrome, have been profoundly affected by water fasting. And we'll go through fabulous research. But one thing you want to realize is that all human beings have the capacity to fast.
Okay, so let's run through the unique selling points versus any other diet or intervention.
Let's do it.
So how do I know if my liver's healthy? Is there any symptoms of an unhealthy or toxic liver?
Let's go through checklists. And the reason I call them checklists is because they may not apply to everybody. The first question to ask if your liver is healthy is, when you go without food, do you make a ketone? We've had people that are like 20 hours in, 36 hours in, 48 hours in. They're like, I'm still not making a ketone. If you can't make ketones, or you're starving after a long period, you're not feeling the benefits of fasting, that could be because of your liver. So we now have, okay, that's liver issue number one. Then we can go to things like, how do you process alcohol? Like, you know how there's certain people who, like, you go out to drink with them, and after a couple drinks, they're dancing on the table, and then there's other people that, like, can drink the whole bar, and they seem like they're completely normal compared to when they walked in. So that's liver function. Like, how quickly is that liver metabolizing that alcohol?
Which one is healthy, sorry?
I actually think metabolizing it quickly is better than the stagnant person.
Why have all these YouTubers that were big in 2014, 15, 16, why have they now walked away from their channels?
Partly because my audience have all grown up, or the audience I had back then, they've all got older. I presume a lot of the ones started watching me when they were 14, 15. They're all now in their 20s. They've got their own stuff going on, and the stuff that I knew how to make back then is not what they want to consume now as content. So I think there's sort of a mass shift of audience that sort of then grow up and go on to their own things. Because there's certain things that you can post. If I'm with some of the old gang, for example, and I post, it performs really well, and a lot of people sort of come back. So they're still there, but it's they're not as hardcore viewers as they used to be.
In the moments where it matters most, your invisible PR shows up. And what I mean by that is, as CEO, when we were thinking about who to make the managing director, or who to make the manager, or who we could trust to lead New York City or another country around the world, in that moment, it's like the small, tiny things that appeared in those conversations about how someone had behaved and how they'd acted that made all the difference. And those people will never know. They'll never know that Jenny, when I was in New York City getting a text message saying she'd run to the shops because Tom had fallen over and she'd gotten the plaster, was one of the reasons she got promotion 3 years later. And it's like invisible reputation. You don't know you're building it, but you're building it on every single touch point you have with every single person. I go to events, I speak a lot, I meet a lot of people. Some days I'm really fucking tired. Some days someone will come up to me and ask me for something or a photo or whatever, and I could just go, nah. I'll tell you an example where someone's invisible PR really didn't work for them. I'm in New York City, I get on a plane. I see that guy from Man vs. Food. What's his name? I think it might be Steve Wickman. At the time, like I said, we're running the biggest food channel in the world called Love Food at the time. We're doing millions of views on this channel. And so I messaged the food team and I messaged my wider team on our chat. And I go, oh my God, that Man vs. Food guy sat in front of me on the plane. In our company, we've always had this tradition, let's not go into it now, where when you start, we ask you what your favorite sandwich is. Long story. So my team, 400 people on this group, go and ask him what favorite sandwich is. So I go, okay. And I never speak to celebrities. I don't want to bother them. So I put my bags up and I go, right, I'm going to go ask him. I walk over to him, I go, what? He goes, not now! Not now! And I go, okay, I walk back to my seat and I sit down, I slump, trying to get as low as I can in my seat. And what do I have to do? I have to tell 400 people how he behaved. So I message the group, I say, nah, he was really in a bad mood. Sorry guys, I didn't get the answer. And then I start a podcast. And I recount this story one day on the podcast. The podcast gets very big. he finds out. A lot of people start telling him. And he tweets me one day, apologizing for that. And I wasn't roasting him. I used it as an example of you never know. You never know what one interaction. Jenny, who ran to the Superdrug to get Tom a plaster when he fell over in the office, when I was 5,000 miles away in New York City, she has no idea I got a text about that. She has no idea that factored into the reason she got a promotion. Every single person in here, including myself, has an invisible reputation which is working for or against you. And it's based on these small decisions you make.
If what you're saying is true, then, I mean, this is a revelation.
Yeah. And I couldn't speak about it until now, that it's possible to communicate with someone that's passed away. And I'm saying it from the point of view of being a neuroscientist and a psychiatrist. And it's taboo because we are afraid that people think we're going insane. I mean, I've been part of teams that have locked people up and had them injected with stuff against their will because of things they were saying that's not that dissimilar to things I've experienced. So I wanted to find out as much science as I could to try to back it up.
And do you think you found the answer?
Yeah.
How sure are you?
100%. And the things I found out are going to shock you.
The floor is yours.
Okay. So I lost my beloved husband to leukemia almost 4 years ago, 2 days before our 4th wedding anniversary. And everything I believed in had gone wrong. I was just totally lost and broken. But then I started getting signs from my husband. And in my desperation, I did consult a couple of mediums. But not being impressed by them, I ended up thinking, if it's possible to communicate with someone that's passed away, and I am all about optimizing my brain, then I should be able to do it myself. So I went down a rabbit hole, and what I've uncovered in this research is going to have a really beneficial effect on a lot of people.
Why?
Because it means that we are capable of so much more than what we think the human mind is capable of.
So listen, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and ask the questions and challenge you in ways that I think the viewer might challenge you.
I want you to ask me those questions.
I think it's okay for somebody to say of themselves, look, I'm not a careerist. I am okay with the fact that I will never be an owner or a senior manager. I want to be paid fairly. I want to do decent work, but I want work to fit neatly in my life and not overwhelm it. And I'm going to look for a job where that is possible. And I don't think we're at the point where we have total honesty on both sides yet. I hope we can get to the point, because there's still stigma, because the older generations like you and me are looking at, if somebody were to say to us, I only want to work 40 hours, I'm willing to push my boundaries occasionally, but really this is just to, we would be like, well, you're not working here. So, you know, so it hasn't normalized yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's just a question of being honest with oneself, and you're allowed to change your mind as well. Like, I've decided I do want to be a little harder driving, and I do have more ambition than I thought, you know, or less. But I think it's just about honesty.
Why do people not know that vitamin D deficiency can increase dementia risk by 80%? Why do people not know that having a low omega-3 index is as bad for you in terms of mortality as smoking? Why do people not know that you can take someone midlife, put them on this 2-year training protocol, and reverse the aging of their heart by 20 years? And as a scientist, I've seen firsthand that 70% of the way you're aging is actually due to your lifestyle. And all these things are so easy to do. So for example, as we age, certain areas of the brain which is involved in learning and memory starts to shrink by about 1 to 2% per year. The good news is, studies show that people being part of an exercise protocol, not only did they not have their hippocampus shrink, it actually grew by 1 to 2%. And there's more. There are other things that don't even require as much effort as exercise, like supplements. And it's been shown study after study that if you take someone and you sleep deprive them for 21 hours and give them 25 to 30 grams of creatine, not only does it negate the cognitive deficits of sleep deprivation, it makes people function better than if they were well rested. And then there's magnesium. There have been studies showing that people with the highest magnesium levels have a 40% lower all-cause mortality, and over 300 different enzymes in your body need it to help with short-term survival. And yet 50% of the population in the United States does not have adequate levels of magnesium. And there's still more. There's saunas, red light therapy, ketogenic diets, blueberries, electrolytes, and we can talk about all of them.
Please.
Okay, so when you go into this sauna, something happens that's incredible. So